Hi, everyone. I'm Judy, the YouTube lawyer. Today I'm here with Remy Oliver, another subscriber
Hello.
who is here ready and willing to help me read a lawsuit that was filed against Harvey and Donna Adelson back in 2016 by their former attorneys. So let's get started. Sorry to be late as usual. And so I'll go ahead and start, and we're going to be taking turns, right? Okay. And again, thank you so much, Remy, for being willing to help.
Thanks for having me, as always.
Sure. Okay, let's get started. So this was e-filed on September 19th, 2016 in the Circuit Court for Broward County, Florida. The law firm is called Gerstein Baret, PL, Professional Limited Liability Company versus Dr. Harvey Adelson. They misspelled his last name, as you can see. Donna Adelson, an American Express company. Complaint for damages. Comes now plaintiff Gerstein Baret, PL, hereinafter GNB, by and through its undersigned counsel, and sues Harvey Adelson, hereinafter individually H.A., Donna Adelson, hereinafter individually D.A., the defendants, hereinafter collectively defendants, and American Express Company, hereinafter Amex, and states the following in support thereof. General allegations. You can go ahead.
Plaintiff, G&B is a Florida professional limited liability company with a principal place of business located in and doing business in Broward County, Florida.
Defendants are married individuals who, upon information and belief, are residents of Palm Beach County, Florida.
Amex is a corporation incorporated in the state of New York with its registered agent in New York and with businesses operational throughout the continental United States.
The damages in controversy in this dispute is in excess $15,000, exclusive of interest and costs.
The cause of action accrued in Broward County, Florida, as the contract was made in Broward County. The services were to be performed in Broward County, and payment for services rendered under the contract was to be made in Broward County.
Facts common to all counts. Plaintiff GMB is a professional limited liability company providing legal services, including, but not limited to, representation in criminal matters. Attorney Elan Baret, hereinafter Baret, is a partner at GMB.
On or about June 8, 2016, H.A. contacted Baret regarding representation in connection with a criminal matter in which a subpoena had been served upon H.A.
After a lengthy conversation with defendants, GMB agreed to represent the defendants throughout the criminal investigation for a flat fee of $20,000, which was to be paid in 2 installments. The first installment was to be paid on June 9th, 2016, in the amount of $10,000. The second installment was to be paid on July 9th, 2016, in the amount of $10,000.
Baret was extremely clear in informing defendants that the case was being accepted on a flat fee basis, which was non-refundable, and that the amount would not be returned to defendants under any circumstances.
The following day, on or about June 9th, 2016, H.A. once again met with Baret. During that meeting, H.A. authorized a credit charge on his American Express card in the amount of $10,000, the initial installment for representation. H.A. was given a receipt for payment, which he signed.
Having received the first installment payment, Baret commenced work on the case pursuant to the oral contract for representation in the criminal matter. Baret spent substantial time and effort providing legal services to defendants between June 9, 2016 and July 9, 2016, pursuant to the contract for representation by G&B.
On or about July 9th, 2016, the date on which the second installment payment was due from defendants, Baret requested that H.A. return to GMB's office to authorize a charge for the balance of the agreed-upon flat fee.
At that time, H.A. refused to furnish payment as agreed to on or about June 8, 2016, and informed Baret that he no longer wished to retain his services. H.A. then demanded that GNB refund the first installment of $10,000, which had already been paid on or about June 9, 2016. On or about July 9, 2016, the initially $10,000, I guess that's initial $10,000 installment had been approved and had been deposited into GNB's business account.
Baret, on behalf of GNB, refused to refund the portion of the non-refundable fee that had already been paid, especially in light of the fact that Baret had already performed substantial legal services in the case.
In response, H.A. initiated a dispute with American Express Merchant Services, hereinafter AEMS, which resulted in a chargeback of the $10,000 flat fee, which had been paid pursuant to the contract for services entered into on June 8, 2016.
Count 1, fraud in the inducement against defendants H.A. and D.A. Plaintiff hereby incorporates by reference and specifically realleges paragraphs 1 through 16.
On June 9th, 2016, H.A. personally authorized a charge of $10,000 on his credit card, which represented the first installment of a $20,000 flat fee for legal services to be provided to defendants regarding an ongoing criminal investigation.
H.A. was physically present in the offices of GMB at the time the charge was made, and H.A. specifically authorized the charge. In addition, H.A. provided identification at the time the charge was made, which conclusively established that he was, in fact, H.A.
On June 8, 2016, prior to making the first installment payment, defendants represented to Baret that they would pay GNB a non-refundable $20,000 flat fee in order to retain GNB to represent them in the ongoing criminal investigation.
On information and belief, at the time that defendants made this representation regarding payment of the flat fee, defendants knew that they had no intention of paying GMB the full amount of the non-refundable retainer.
Defendants represented that they would pay in hopes of including GNB to perform legal services. Inducing GNB to perform legal services for their benefit in connection with the ongoing criminal investigation, including responding to the subpoena which had been served upon defendants.
GMB acted in reasonable reliance on defendants' promises to pay in undertaking to respond to the subpoena, investigate the charges, and perform legal services on behalf of defendants.
GNB was injured by their reliance, as Baret, as a representative of GNB, spent a substantial number of hours working on the defendant's case and providing legal representation in the matter.
GMB commenced with providing legal services to defendants immediately upon authorization of the charge to H.A.'s credit card account and continued this diligent work for the next 30 days after authorization of the charge.
H.A. never disputed that he authorized the charge to his account, nor did he indicate that he wished to terminate the contract with plaintiff at or near the time of the charge to the account.
H.A. knew that plaintiff was performing legal services on his behalf immediately after authorization of the charge to his account and for the 30 days subsequent to the charge to the account.
Wherefore, plaintiff prays that this court award damages against defendants, including interest, costs, and such other relief as this court may find just.
Count 2, fraud against defendants H.A. and D.A. GMB hereby incorporates by reference and specifically realleges paragraphs 1 through 27.
On June 9th, 2016, HA authorized a charge of $10,000 on his credit card account as the first payment towards a flat fee of $20,000 for legal services to be provided to defendants regarding an ongoing criminal investigation.
HA was physically present in the offices of GMB at the time the charge to his credit card was authorized and provided identification that established that he was, in fact, HA.
Between June 9th, 2016 and July 9th, 2016, GNB provided legal services to defendants immediately upon authorization of the charges to HA's credit card account and for the next 30 days after authorization of the charge.
HA did not dispute that he authorized a $10,000 charge to his account, nor did he indicate that he wished to terminate the contract with GMB at or near the time of the charge to the account or for a month after the charge to the account.
HA knew that GNB was providing legal services on behalf of defendants immediately after authorization of the charge to his account and for the 30 days subsequent to the charge to the account.
On information and belief, in early July 2016, HA made material misrepresentations to AEMS. Namely, HA represented that he did not authorize GMB to charge his account in the amount of $10,000, or that services were not provided by GMB in accordance with the agreement under which the charge was incurred.
Such representations were patently false, as HA did personally authorize the charge to his account, and services were provided by GNB under the agreement entered into the defendants by the defendants and GNB.
HA knew the representations he made to AEMS were false at the time that the allegations were made.
HA intended that AEMS would rely on the misrepresentations and would initiate a chargeback of the $10,000 amount paid to GNB.
AEMS relied on defendants' false representations and did, in fact, initiate a chargeback of the amount paid to GNB.
On July 21st, 2016, GNB received notice that defendants intended to dispute the $10,000 charge, which was made on June 9th, 2016.
In response, on July 27, 2016, GMB made a timely objection to the dispute through the appropriate channels by sending an affidavit and receipt to AEMS.
GNB has been harmed by defendants' misrepresentations to AEMS in that GNB has not been paid for providing legal services to defendants pursuant to the agreement for representation.
Wherefore, GMB prays that this court award damages against Harvey Adelson, interest, costs, and such other relief as this court may find just.
Count 3, breach of contract against defendants HA and DA. Plaintiff hereby incorporates by reference and specifically realleges paragraphs 1 through 42.
GMB, by and through its partner, Baret, entered into a contract with defendants on June 8, 2016.
Under the contract, GNB promised to provide legal services relating to an ongoing criminal investigation for the benefit of defendants. In exchange for the above stated representation, defendants agreed to pay GNB a non-refundable flat fee in the amount of $20,000, which was to be paid in 2 installments of $10,000 each. The first installment to be paid on June 9th, 2016, and the second installment to be paid on July 9th, 2016.
On June 9, 2016, defendants authorized the first installment payment by way of a charge to HA's American Express credit card account.
GNB then commenced performance under the contract in accordance with the terms of the agreement and provided legal services to defendants.
Defendants materially breached the contract by failing to pay the second installment of $10,000 on its due date of July 9th, 2016. Defendants further breached the agreement by fraudulently initiating a chargeback of the first installment in the amount of $10,000.
At no time did G&B fail to render any obligation under the contract.
At the present time, GMB has performed all conditions precedent to bringing this action, and/or any such condition precedent has been waived by defendants.
G&B has suffered damages by the breach of the contract because G&B has incurred a chargeback of $10,000 on its account. Further, G&B has not received the second installment of $10,000 pursuant to the agreement for legal services entered into on June 8th, 2016.
Wherefore, the plaintiff prays that this court award it damages, including compensatory, consequential, and expectancy, interest, costs, and such other relief as this court may find just against defendants.
I'll let you say that title there.
Count 4, quantum meruit against defendants H, A, and DA.
G&B hereby incorporates by reference and specifically realleges paragraphs 1 through 52.
GMB provided legal services to defendants pursuant to a contract which defendants breached.
GMB's legal services included, but were not limited to, investigating the case against defendants, responding to a subpoena served upon the defendants, and protecting the interest of defendants in inquiries from the media and other sources.
Defendants knew and in fact requested that GMB provide these legal services and authorized GMB to provide those legal services.
Defendants knew that G&B expected to be paid for the legal services being rendered in connection with the ongoing criminal investigation. In fact, defendants specifically agreed to pay G&B $20,000 in 2 separate installments as payment for the services rendered.
After GMB expended considerable time and efforts complying with its contractual obligations to defendants, defendants initiated a fraudulent chargeback against the first $10,000 installment paid to GMB.
At the time in which the first installment payment was fraudulently taken from GMB's account, GMB had completed hours of work on the defendant's case pursuant to the contract with defendants. GMB has not been paid or received any benefit from defendants or third parties for its work on the defendant's criminal matter.
GMB reasonably expected to be paid for its services, as defendants specifically agreed to undertake this obligation under the contract for legal services.
It would be inequitable and unjust for defendants to benefit from the performance of legal services without paying for the value of the legal services already rendered.
Wherefore, GMB prays that this court award it damages, interest, costs, and such other relief as this court may find just against defendants. Count 5, Florida Deceptive Unfair Trade Practices Act, FDUPA, against defendant MX.
G&B hereby incorporates, by reference, and specifically realleges paragraphs 1 through 63.
On June 9th, 2016, HA, a customer of Amex, made a non-refundable payment by way of American Express credit card to GMB for legal services to be rendered in connection with an ongoing criminal investigation.
The charge, which was made on June 9th, 2016, on information and belief, became final shortly thereafter.
On July 21st, 2016, AEMS sent a dispute notification to GMB, alleging that the $10,000 charge was being disputed by HA as an, quote, unauthorized charge, unquote.
G&B made a timely response to the dispute notification by way of affidavit stating the circumstances surrounding the retention of the funds by G&B, as well as a receipt signed by HA, which specifically states in capital letters, quote, "All charges are final. There are no refunds," end quote.
The correspondence was faxed to AEMS by G&B prior to the deadline stated in the notice, which was August 4th, 2016.
However, notwithstanding the sworn affidavit from G&B, an office providing legal services asserting the charge was in fact authorized and that services had been rendered in accordance with the agreement, AMX initiated a chargeback of $10,000 against G&B's business account.
The chargeback unilaterally and without regard for the sworn statement put forth by G&B constitutes an unfair trade practice which is highly injurious to consumers.
G&B was relying on the $10,000 deposit, which, on information and belief, had become final for 2 months prior to the chargeback being drawn against their account.
The chargeback necessitated a partner of G&B placing personal funds into the business account of G&B to avoid defaulting on other business obligations.
G&B is damaged in that it has been deprived of $10,000, which was rightfully earned by G&B through providing legal services under a legal services agreement with Amex's customer, HA.
Wherefore, G&B prays that this court awarded damages, interest, costs, and such other relief as this court may find just against defendants. Count 6, negligence per se, against defendant Amex.
G&B hereby incorporates by reference and specifically realleges paragraphs 1 through 74.
On June 9th, 2016, HA paid G&B $10,000 for legal services to be rendered in connection with legal representation in an ongoing criminal investigation.
Payment was made by American Express credit card and was conducted in person in the offices of G&B.
G&B specifically informed HA that the payment was non-refundable, and HA agreed.
On July 21st, 2016, G&B received a notice of dispute from AEMS informing G&B that HA had contested the charges that were made on June 9th, 2016 in the amount of $10,000.
G&B responded with an affidavit denying the dispute as well as a receipt which was signed by HA.
On information and belief, the payment from Amex had become final on or before August 4th, 2016, at the time that a chargeback was initiated against G&B's account.
Once the settlement became final, Amex's right to initiate a chargeback had terminated pursuant to Florida Statute Section 674.1241, Florida Statute Section 674.215, Florida Statute Section 674.2131.
Under Florida Statute 674.2131, a settlement becomes, quote, final, end quote, on a payment with respect to a tender of settlement by credit in an account in a Federal Reserve Bank when the credit is made.
Under Florida Statute Section 674.215, once a settlement becomes final on a charge, there is no right by the bank to charge back on the account of the person who deposited the check.
Under Florida Statute 674.2141, if the charge is not yet final, a bank must exercise ordinary care with respect to a chargeback on an account, or else it becomes liable for damages caused by its failure to act with due care.
Because the settlement on the payment had become final, Amex had no right to charge back the funds, and in doing so specifically violated the provisions of Florida statutes cited above.
In addition, even if Amex did have a right to charge back and or the charge had not become final, quote unquote final, Amex failed to abide by its statutorily imposed duty to exercise ordinary care with respect to the chargeback as required by Florida Statute 674.2141 because it made a chargeback notwithstanding a dispute from G&B supported by a sworn affidavit which was made by a legal professional and accompanied by a signed receipt indicating a final, non-refundable transaction.
A reasonably prudent bank would have acted differently under the circumstances given the affidavit, receipt, and status of the party against whom the allegations were made.
G&B is in the class of individuals whom the statute is intended to protect.
G&B is suffering the exact injury which the statute was intended to protect against. Namely, it has been charged out of funds which are rightfully entitled to it and which had become final in its account after rendering professional services under a contract.
Amex's violation of Florida statutes, which prohibit chargebacks after payment has become final, and only with due care on transactions for which payment has not become final, is the proximate cause of G&B's injury.
Wherefore, G&B prays that this court awarded damages, interest, costs, and such other relief as this court may find just against defendants. Count 7, wrongful debit against Amex.
G&B hereby incorporates by reference and specifically realleges paragraphs 1 through 86.
On June 9th, 2016, H.A. paid G&B $10,000 with an American Express credit card for legal services to be rendered in connection with an ongoing criminal investigation.
On July 21st, 2016, G&B received a dispute notification from AEMS.
G&B made a timely reply with a sworn affidavit denying the existence of a dispute and attaching a receipt which was signed by H.A.
On information and belief, the $10,000 charge had become final at the time that the chargeback was initiated against G&B's business account.
Because the charge had become final, Amex had no legal right or any other authority to charge back the $10,000 against the account.
Initiating the chargeback was wrongful against G&B, and G&B was damaged due to the wrongful acts of Amex.
Wherefore, G&B prays that this court awarded damages, interest, costs, and such other relief as this court may find just against defendants.
Demand for jury trial. That's it. Plaintiff demands trial by jury on all issues so triable under Florida law.
Designation of email address. Elan Baret and Gerstein and Baret PL pursuant to Rule 2.516 hereby designate the following email address for the purpose of service of all documents required to be served in this proceeding. And so that's just the end, and it's signed by William Gerstein, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. So there you have it. This is a public record. Thank you to the subscriber who emailed me this document. So what do you think, Remy? Any thoughts about this?
Right. I personally didn't know they were, I'm assuming Harvey and Donna were served a subpoena and they were escaping that through using the lawyer, I guess.
Yeah, or they wanted some sort of guidance on what to do. And I'm kind of surprised also, that they would hire this small law firm that seems to really market itself more as an immigration law firm. So
right.
that attorney, Elan Baret, graduated from St. Thomas Law School, and I think he's originally from Israel.
Okay.
So this is the website. They have a really nice website here, but it's, as a small business owner myself, I know how devastating it is when you do all this work for clients and then months later or a month later, then they try to dispute the charge or they try to demand a refund or partial refund. It's just horrible to treat small businesses like this, especially when the attorney made it clear this is a non-refundable flat fee.
Right. So I wonder what the resolution or the outcome was of all this.
Oh, well, the good news is that this case resolved, I would say, within just a few months. I think it was around December 5th of 2016 that the case was voluntarily dismissed, which
Okay.
makes me think that they must have gotten their money and gotten a settlement pretty quickly after filing the lawsuit. So this is that poor guy that they tried to screw over, allegedly. Okay, it says Elon Baret, a partner in the law firm, has been practicing law since 1999. He's a member of the Florida and New York state bars and the Israeli bar. He's also been admitted to the U.S. federal court for the Southern District of Florida. He's a member of the American Immigration Lawyers Association and the ABA. He got an LLB from Manchester University of England and his JD from St. Thomas University. And he served the U.S. Coast Guard Select Reserve in their legal department in Miami. He is fluent in Hebrew.
Interesting.
Yeah, so clearly they didn't have any qualms about screwing over a fellow Jewish person.
Right.
So poor lawyer.
I wonder, they're probably going to be subpoenaed for Charlie's trial next year, right? I would expect at least Donna. With all the...
Yeah, except she does have the right to just basically plead the fifth on everything. So I think the same thing, would apply where Wendi was only willing to testify if she had that kind of limited immunity for whatever she said at the Magbanua and the Garcia trials. So I doubt that Harvey and Donna would actually show up and testify, because they would just continue pleading the Fifth Amendment for everything.
Right.
Since, they are both under suspicion, although they have not actually been criminally charged.
Right. The more videos with the FBI wiretaps that Fancy Fiction keeps releasing, each one sounds more incriminating than the previous. I mean, they're just getting worse and worse, especially Donna, her conversations the day of the bump. I mean, it's just so obvious.
Yeah. I mean, that's why people were thinking, well, how come Donna hasn't been arrested yet, or anybody else in the family? So, I think this is part of a strategy, though, because they first want to put the, put the vice on Charlie, see if he's going to turn against anybody or actually make a deal and come clean. Or, what's more likely to happen is that he's just going to take his chances and not say anything, because he, just like Katie, he probably just does not want to admit to anything.
Right.
Yeah. So Paper Thin says, you wonder why Charlie and Wendi turned out the way they are. Just look at their unethical parents. Yeah. When the subscriber emailed me this lawsuit complaint, there was also a printout from just that Broward County court system of a bunch of other lawsuits that Harvey Adelson has been involved in, and then other cases involving Charlie, civil as well as traffic type cases. So there is plenty more out there. It's just a question of, do we want to take the time to find all the court filings on all those other lawsuits they've been involved in and, read them online. I guess there are some people who are very interested in that.
So you can request the documents. Those are, the public can request them, but there's a long review process. It's the way I understand it.
Yeah, I'm not sure, because there have been people who told me they were trying to request information about different cases or the criminal matter, but they were not getting a response, or it was taking forever. So, maybe Mentor Lawyer has an in, or some Florida attorney out there that wants to help us out can easily get us the information, because definitely for the Leon County court records, I looked a little bit into it, and they make you fill out a form which has to be notarized, and then you have to scan it in and email it to the clerk before you can even have the ability to request these types of public documents. So yeah, I mean, they clearly set up some obstacles there, because they don't want every single person out there who's interested in a case to just bombard them with requests for documents all the time. Yeah,
might be worth it.
Yeah, I think so. If I get a little bit more spare time later this fall, because usually my business slows down after Thanksgiving and December. So maybe I'll have time to do some more.
Or we both can.
Yeah, do some more sleuthing and everything. Yeah. Oh, thank you so much. Okay, thank you, Catching Everything. Yeah, I appreciate it. It's really nice when people out there are supportive and they just directly email me stuff, so I don't have to spend another 30 minutes or more trying to scour the internet and make requests. And, it's very time consuming. So I can't remember the reason when the builder ran out. Okay. To Florida. Oh, well, Florida, I think Florida is really protective of people with judgments against them. That's why OJ went there. Right? Because they have that homestead exemption where, creditors can't even get at your house. Or I feel like the Florida laws helps people protect their assets and run away from judgments better.
OJ's living the life. If you look at his Twitter, I mean, it's golf every day, sports, drinking. I mean, he's having the best life of anyone.
So is he living in Florida?
I think he's in California right now.
Okay. What about his kids? I know his kids were in Florida for a while, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure, but yeah, he's living the life. Who would have thought?
Yeah, that's pretty sad, but I wonder how many real friends he has left. So, okay, James Wagner, thank you for being here. Everyone has been focused on Donna as the mastermind. It seems Harvey considers himself a tough guy and has obviously shaped the culture of his family. He might turn out to be central to this. Yeah, I feel like, there's no one that's like purely innocent. I mean, other than the oldest brother who's off in New York, but, to me, it seems like that everybody had a hand in the conspiracy.
On the day of the bump, though, Donna and Charlie were saying they did not want the dad to know about it. They were like shielding him from the information surrounding the bump and all that. Thought that was interesting.
Yeah, well, it could just be that, he may have been on with the murder conspiracy, but maybe he was doubtful, or they knew he'd totally freak out after hearing about the bump. So, yeah, because maybe supposedly Charlie was supposed to handle everything on his end. And
right. He did a great job.
Goofed up. Yeah.
He was thought he was too clever.
Yeah.
Too confident.
Yes. Will there be a day when they have a family reunion in jail? Yeah, I doubt it, because, once you're in prison, they don't allow you to just go and visit your family members, right? They'll be in separate areas or separate prisons. I think Wendi might be the mastermind. Yeah, that's correct. And I do plan on having a future live stream or video just highlighting certain things that Luis Rivera said in his police interview back from October 2016, because there were some real gems where he mentioned Wendi and mentioned the lady and made references that make it pretty clear he was referring to Wendi, not Donna. So, okay. Yeah, they can share a jail cell. Yeah, I don't think they allow family members to be together. Yeah. After Hurricane Andrew, there were so many scams, collected money and ran. It does happen in South Florida. Yeah, there's a reputation there that there are a lot of scam artists in Florida. Wendi, it's all about Wendi, dear Wendi. Is she happy now? Well, based on what John Singer said on Surviving the Survivor, he or his wife knows people who are friends with Wendi, and she does seem to have a great life and be living her best life and just moving on, and has friends and everything. So
those boys are growing up, though. They're smart kids. They're gonna see everything eventually if they haven't already.
Yeah. As people keep saying, it's really impossible to keep kids, especially teenagers, off the internet. Yeah. Being a doctor dentist doesn't mean you're normal. They're all crazy. Isn't that the truth? Yeah. I come from a family of doctors and dentists. Yeah, they are not totally squeaky clean people that have better morals than the average Joe. So, they might have more money than the average Joe, but that's about it. So, yeah. Okay. Tighter than wooden watches. Okay. Wow. What a mess. Yeah. Thank you, Southern Law, for being here. Let's see. Very true, Dina. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm hopping around. Wendi loves Wendi, so she don't care what happens around her. Listening to Ruth Markel's The Unveiling. In it, Donna is really highlighted as writing checks for Katie Magbanua straight after the murder. I feel sure Donna will be charged soon, hopefully this year. Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, what do you think, Remy? I
think it'll be right after Charlie's case. I'm hoping they'll bring up, expose more of Donna specifically. Castleman likes to do that. She just likes to pull in like peripheral facts and just drop them about the family members. She did that with Wendi the last time she had Wendi on the stand. reminding her that they're not, the prosecutions haven't ended, the indictments, it could still happen to the other family members, Wendi included. But it's such a difference. Wendy's first time on the stand years ago, she was so smug against Kappelman. And then this last time earlier this year, it had kind of like, that confidence had kind of evaporated.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she was saying like, yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am. Yes, Miss Kappelman, She
Wow.
wasn't doing that the first time.
Yeah, although it could have just been in a smart alecky type of way. So,
Right.
Yeah. Thank you for being here also, Harley. Family full of fraudsters. Oh, yeah. Thank you, guys. Please like and subscribe if you're not subscribed already. Yeah. I think Lewis saw Wendi even though cellular towers didn't pick up her cell phone signal. Jeff did say that Wendi changed her phone right after the death of Dan because she says her phone got bugged. Yeah, or she was afraid her phone was bugged. Yeah. I mean, it just boggles your mind that even if maybe Lewis misremembered the day or whatever, or maybe they saw some other woman that Sigfredo thought was Wendi, the mere fact that they both started mentioning Wendi and that he knew or he thought that this person is Wendi and that's the person that they're doing this job for, that is very, very incriminating.
And they saw her like loitering around the house that one day with the boy. She was just hanging around Dan's house, and Sigfredo recognized her. Mm-hmm. And he pointed her out to Luis Rivera's.
Yeah. But the problem is that I'm pretty sure, based on reading over that appellate brief that I covered in a live stream a couple of months ago, that the daycare records didn't show that Wendi had taken the kids out early that Thursday before Dan was shot. Mm-hmm. So I'm just thinking, it could have been a different day. Maybe it was during the first trip to try to kill Dan, mm-hmm. or maybe they just saw some other woman that both of them mistakenly thought was Wendi. Who knows?
Right.
Yeah. But why else would they even need to mention her name? If she had nothing to do with it and they didn't know her. Yeah. Let's see. Did they check home cameras or other cameras in the vicinity of Dan's house to see if they caught Wendi the area? Well, I'm not 100% sure, but somehow I'm sure the police officers did go up and down the street asking neighbors in general if they had any sort of security footage so they could see, the murderer's vehicle. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but this was in 2014, so I don't think a lot of people had those security cameras back then.
Like I feel like Nest.
Yeah, like Ring or Nest. I mean, that's getting more prevalent now, but maybe in 2014 in that neighborhood, it wasn't as prevalent. I mean, obviously, it doesn't seem like Dan had any sort of home security camera. So I haven't heard about that.
And Wendi showed up the day of when they blocked it all off. The cop that was making traffic go around, he saw her make a real abrupt, like 3-point turn and get out of there. Yeah, that's pretty bizarre also. It's like, why would you happen to show up there at the crime scene and see the police cars and everything? Or at least she claimed she didn't see any police cars or anything and thought it was a downed tree, right? Mm-hmm, or right. There had been an electrical storm. Yeah, she knew what she was doing, contacts and insider information. Happy Adelson Hanukkah gift, How to Survive Prison, a guide for prisoners by prisoners. It really seems like there is a quiet before the storm at moment in December. Charlie's case hearing might be exciting. Yeah, we're all waiting to see what happens with that. Although I don't think anything really exciting is going to happen. They'll probably just have a better idea of when the trial date is going to be. And you don't think he'll take the stand, right?
Oh, no, because that's just it's just kind of like the judge checking in on everybody. Like, how's the discovery going? Any issues going on with discovery or preparation for trial? Mm-hmm. Yeah. $10,000 is pocket change to Adelsons when you're a millionaire. Yeah, multimillionaires. They didn't mind offering $333,000 to Dan to bait him to allow Wicked Wendi to move with the children to South Florida. Yeah. That's the lady, said Luis Rivera. To recognize the malice, cunning, and hypocrisy that power produces and the peculiar ruthlessness often shown by people from good families. Marcus Aurelius. Okay, thanks for the quote. Good old Quantum Meroit. Yes. She drove there on purpose. Yeah, I believe so. Can't wait until this Charlie trial. Okay. So Remy, tell us more about how you've been doing and any other thoughts you'd like to share about the Markel case.
Yeah, I've been doing well. Thank you. Lots of work. But yeah, I'm super excited about the upcoming date in the court for Charlie. I'm going to have my popcorn ready and totally ready to watch Kappelman for, what is it, round 3 now, because they had the retrial for Katie. So, I mean, she's just stepping up to bat, knocking them all down. I'm loving it. My goodness. It's so fun, and it's free entertainment. You just turn on YouTube and watch this guy get served justice after so many years.
Yeah. Although, so December is just a status hearing. And so we don't even have a real trial date yet. The judge had thought the earliest would probably be in late February, but he was also talking about extending it off into April, because March is when most people are on spring break. Right. So, I don't know. I mean, a lot of people are now thinking, oh, it probably might not be until the summer because there is just a huge mountain of evidence and wiretaps, things that his attorneys have to listen to and read through to prepare.
He has to be able to access it in jail. And I saw that he's been getting into some altercations in the jail, like in the general population, or he was like fighting with someone.
Yeah, or arguing. With that convicted child rapist or whoever it was, Garland, I think, was possibly bullying him, poor Charlie, and then he got scolded for not making his bed recently. So, I mean, that must be so humiliating for him to be this like rich, former successful periodontist who's being like written up by someone saying, "Hey, you need to make your bed right now." Poor guy. Yeah, he's getting what he deserved, though.
Oh, he is. The last wiretaps, the day before the bump, like that last night before the bump occurred and his world was finally flipped upside down, he was just so douchey. Those confident, just the way he's like objectifying women left and right on those phone calls to his friend. And it really was perfect timing. It's just almost like the FBI was like, we can't take listening to this guy anymore. Let's do the bump tomorrow morning.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when you hear all of those phone calls on Fancy Fiction, you just see how despicable a lot of these people are, not just Charlie, but also Katie and Donna,
the whole crowd.
All the gossiping and rude remarks being said about other people. Yeah. Okay, so American Psycho says, just out of curiosity, does Dangerous Donna take care of Dan's children full time? Seems every single one of her wiretap conversations had the boys in the background. I agree with you. I mean, I thought I read somewhere that it seemed as if Wendi had joint custody with her parents. So instead of Dan, then her parents took the role of Dan and taking the kids every few days. And then she had time off to go have fun and date and be with her boyfriends.
Right. The kids are yelling in the background, and Donna, I mean, she might as well say, keep it down. I'm talking to the guy that arranged your dad to get murdered. And Charlie gets jealous when Donna pays attention to the kids in the background. It's hilarious.
Yeah, he definitely doesn't seem to be a very wonderful uncle, because I never once heard him say anything about wanting to talk to the kids or how are Benjamin and Lincoln doing.
You're right. Never once.
Yeah, he's just too busy, bragging about himself and talking about, June trying out for the cheerleading team and, like he's going to be like meeting up with his friends and insider trading.
Those details with their mom. He's saying like she's wearing little shorts and the mom is just listening to that and giggling. Like their dynamic is just bizarre.
Yeah, it's creepy. Yeah. Like she's so desperate for Charlie's affection and his attention. And, and I also noticed that she likes to keep saying, I love you, Charlie. And then he never responds back.
You're right. He never does.
Yeah. Like
he just continues the lecture. Whatever thing he's lecturing about, it goes on.
Yeah. Yeah. So she's just like trying to just, kiss up to him like, oh, remember your dear mom. Mommy loves you so much.
Right.
It's kind of sad.
He won't even give her that.
Yeah, it's like, God, lady, get a life. It's like she's so desperate to have Charlie's attention and to,
Right.
keep saying how much she loves him and stuff. And he never really says, I love you too, Mom. Thanks for everything you've done for me.
Right.
Yeah.
No, there's no time. He's got more things to brag about.
Yeah. So thank you everybody for being here. Oh, okay. Yeah, some of these questions are old, so you probably already had them answered. But why are they being sued? Yeah, that's right, for non-payment, because Harvey originally charged $10,000 to his American Express when he met with the attorney, and they were told they had to pay a $20,000 non-refundable flat fee. But then later on, after the attorney already spent a month doing all this work for them, then apparently Harvey had tried to dispute it with Amex, and Amex took the money back. And so this poor two-person law firm got screwed over for a while, and they had to sue the Adelsons as well as American Express back in.
Who knew you could initiate a chargeback that late? I don't even know how you would begin to do that. It was like months after.
Mm-hmm.
Over a month.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so that's why the law firm also sued American Express. So maybe American Express quickly gave them the money, and then maybe Harvey and Donna also had to give them some money, because the total charge was supposed to be $20,000. Yeah. So once again, to attorneys out there, that's why most of us learn it the hard way. Don't trust people, even if they might be your same religion or your same ethnic group, or they seem like nice, rich, honest, educated people. They can still screw you over. Sometimes it is better to just get that cash in hand too, because people can still screw around with credit cards and try to dispute it.
I wonder what the limits were of the flat fee. I mean, if this dragged out for over a year, would they still honor the flat fee?
Yeah, probably not. I mean, that's why it seemed weird. I thought that the complaint mentioned a verbal contract, which is stupid, because lawyers should know better. You need to get something in writing. Mm-hmm. And we're always told, even from when you first get licensed and you go to these continuing legal ed classes, they always say the best practice is that you need to have a written, signed legal representation agreement that tells the client clearly how much the charge is going to be and what the scope of the representation is going to be. You don't want to leave it wide open where the person's like, but wait, I thought I paid a flat fee. You're supposed to keep representing me. Yeah. Let's see. Okay. Yeah. Thank you all for being here. And I'll probably just jump around with the comments, because I don't think we have enough time to address every comment here. So let's see here. Oh, have you gotten Ruth Markel's book?
I have not. I will be getting that, though.
Yeah.
I'm the type that has like a stack of like 40 books that I need to read, by my favorite authors, that the time will hit me and I'll read like 3 in a month. But right now I'm not on that sort of mindset to read a bunch, but I will be getting it for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great book, and I hope to have Ruth Markel back on as a guest in the near future.
She's such a sweetheart, my goodness.
Yeah. I mean, it's just amazing she's still able to talk about this, and so eloquently, without totally breaking down into a puddle of tears. Mm-hmm. It's a very horrible emotional situation where there hasn't been full resolution either from the criminal standpoint.
Right.
Oh, okay. Charlie's Conversations from Jail. Yeah, well, True Lifestyles is another YouTube channel out there that has been covering a lot about jail life for Charlie and Katie. And so she's told us that she has not been able to get any recordings of Charlie's conversations from jail. So that's not being made available to the public at this time. So sorry about that. Yeah. So ultimately, we don't know, because the case was voluntarily dismissed within 2.5 months after the law firm filed the lawsuit. So I'm just going to guess that ultimately there was a settlement from all the defendants, like a confidential settlement. Oh, complains about not being able to take her aging father on a trip to Machu Picchu. Boo-hoo, Wendi, at least you're alive. Dan will never do anything ever again, and she's crying about what she's missing. Yeah. Oh, thank you. Thanks for being here also, Dan Plemick, Michael Palmer, Go Georgia. The Unveiling is a wonderful read, especially for followers. It has very credible information about events and timelines. Yeah, it's just an amazing book. I really am thankful to Ruth Markel for being willing to tell so much of her story and to risk also, putting herself at risk. Like I'm sure there are some people who are very angry with her or doubt her because she came out and wrote this book about her side of the story and what happened. So, it seems like the Adelsons do have their friends and their people in high places that are still on their side also.
I made a note. I'm going to buy it today, actually. I'm going to go ahead and order it. So.
Yeah, and it's
Thank
also, people have said it's available already on Audible, so you can
Great.
get it in the audio version also. Yeah, it's kind of funny how Jeff said that Charlie hops onto different dental offices because people can only handle him one day at a time. Yeah, so yeah, it could be true that he just didn't have the personality or the wherewithal to handle his own practice and deal with people on a regular basis. So he would just, do a little bit here, do a little bit. Hey, that's kind of how he treated women, right? Just like jump from bedroom to different women. Yeah, couldn't maintain a steady relationship with anyone.
He managed to find some that were just willfully ignorant of how sketchy he was. I mean, the phone calls with him in June, I mean, he's literally saying, "You believe what I'm saying, right?" And she's like, "I believe you." And meanwhile, it couldn't sound any more false. Like, he sounds so guilty.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So clearly he wound up with a lot of women that were a little blinded by his money and were willing to, forgive some of his faults and his bad personality traits as long as he kept that flow of cash or purses and fancy dinners and, vacations, other monetary treats. Yeah. Did Donna and Harvey see Charlie's son? Yeah, that I have no idea. Yeah, but I wouldn't be surprised if they don't see that child because it seemed pretty acrimonious in the filings where the child's mother sued Charlie for child support and paternity. But then again, on True Lifestyle, she's noted that there are phone calls between the child's mother and Charlie this past year. Yeah.
That's Bree, right? I believe her name.
Yeah.
Bree? Okay.
Yeah. So hopefully she's doing okay because it sounded pretty awful back in 2019 when she had to file that paternity case and she said she couldn't even work, because it would be too hard for her to have to put her young toddler in daycare and then work as a nanny still. So it said that she was hoping to become a paralegal eventually, go back to school and get some sort of certificate.
Right.
Yeah.
I highly doubt the Adelsons are taking care of her in any way.
Yeah, they probably think that she's after their money or nobody's good enough for their little boy, especially after she sued him. So, but then again, maybe they want to make sure that she's only saying good things about Charlie and she's not going to become a witness against him. I don't know if she really has any information about the criminal case, but they could be wanting to curry favor with her to make sure that she doesn't turn against Charlie.
Someday. I'm sure she'll write a book someday if she's smart. I'm sure she's got a story to tell.
Make that money, get that cheddar. Yeah. Judy is the cousin you wish you had grown. Oh, well, thank you, Maria. I hope you're doing okay. I saw your comments talking about your cancer treatment, so hope the side effects are not too bad. Yeah, my mom died of cancer, and of course that was like 20 something years ago when the treatments weren't as good, but it was really tough. Really, even going to the treatments is pretty grueling. Yeah. Okay, great. So you guys are planning on reading Ruth Markel's book if you haven't gotten it already. The Adelsons most likely settled out of court. Yes. So Amex would have been off the hook at that point, depending on its settlement agreement. Yeah, that's right. So we don't know since it was just dismissed. So we're just guessing, but most likely there was some sort of payment to that poor law firm. Wendi and Charlie and Wendi are both loose characters. Wendi was satisfied with smart, honest man. Oh, okay. She was dissatisfied. Yeah. So, yeah, Dan was not up to snuff for her. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Ultra Testosterone. Okay. Yeah. So it was a lawsuit where the law firm had not been fully paid, and then Harvey Adelson challenged the charge on his credit card. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's what I believe. That the
Wendi, she loves to take little shots at Dan in court when depending on how the lawyers ask her questions in regards to Dan, she's not above like dragging his name through the mud, just saying, you know, just little things that she said on the stand. It's just like she still disparages him. Like even after all this, it's not enough for Wendi. She still has to make little comments about he treated her badly or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. She always had to say like, "Oh, Danny didn't treat me well," or "Danny treated me badly," or "he went through so many lawyers," or, you know, "My lawyer had to withdraw because he was threatening her license," or something to that effect. Yeah, like everything has to be like put the blame back on this victim who's dead now and can't defend himself and say his side of the story or what really happened.
Meanwhile, she had 3 lawyers.
Yeah, she had her own share of lawyers too. And then remember there was that lawyer that charged them $600 an hour, probably because she couldn't stand dealing with Wendi and Donna together. So she needed to make it worth her time by charging extra high rates.
I love it.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So Ultra Testosterone is asking about the fee. Yeah, so that's what we're not sure about, but I'm sure that law firm was not charging $20,000 total flat fee for everything. I think it had to do with responding to a subpoena and maybe some preliminary investigation or helping with the media or giving, I don't know. I mean, you would think they would have put it in writing, the scope of the representation, and limit it to a certain discrete proceeding or time limit. You know, you got to put some limits on it before clients try to take advantage of you if you're going to charge a flat fee. So I learned that lesson early on also. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll be praying for your wellness. Okay. Well, any last thoughts you would like to share?
No, I want to thank you for inviting me again. Had a great time.
Yeah, thank you so much for your help. And so someone has given me access to the actual transcript of June Umchinda's police interviews. So remember many months ago, I had no real transcript. So I was trying to read off of some YouTube generated, you know, captions from a video. So a lot of people were griping about that and saying that I sounded like someone that couldn't read or that I was horrible and all that stuff. But there was no written transcript. But now I finally, thanks to Fancy Fiction and other people, I have access to it. So maybe we can schedule a time and you can play the police officer, and maybe we'll get Tony or Dawn to be the female police officer. And I'll be June, and we'll do it all over again for real with the real transcript.
Good deal.
So
I'm up for it. Thank you.
Yeah. So thank you all here. Oh, okay. So you're asking how much it will cost for the whole trial. Yeah, I bet you I wouldn't be surprised if it cost a lot more than 200 or 300K, because we're talking about people who are multimillionaires and there's a lot at stake. And it seems like Daniel Rashbaum is at Charlie's beck and call, because Charlie had even called him after 10 p.m. one night.
Right.
So, I mean, what kind of lawyer is willing to drop everything and then talk to your client at 10:30 p.m.?
Right.
Well, he better be paying you a ton of money to do that, to be at your beck and
What idea did he think he had? You know, he's in complete denial, Charlie Adelson. You know, he probably thinks he's going to beat it, just like he's always been in denial.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm sure the family is throwing all their money at Daniel Rashbaum and Katherine Meyer's law firm, you know, just to do everything that they can do to get Charlie out of this without him having to admit to any guilt or serve any time in prison. Yeah. So, okay. Thank you, Tony. You're willing to beat a female cop. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. No tax write-off. Yeah. Okay. Take the staples out, Charlie. Post-tax. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's right. I mean, it should not be a business expense when you get arrested for murdering someone. Yeah, I don't think that's a business expense. Yeah, I wonder if Charlie has a boyfriend yet. I don't know. It seems like he's having conflicts with people there, not having any sort of romantic escapades there. Yeah. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, exactly. I mean, but still, most people, if they have the money, they are willing to throw all the money they can to try to stay away from prison. Yeah, Rashbaum should take cash only. Yeah, it sounds like a good idea to me. So, okay. Well,
Judy,
thank you guys all for being here.
Can you imagine if Charlie got off? What are the chances? Less than 1%? I mean, can you imagine if a jury just, I mean, it's happened before. You mentioned the OJ trial, but You say
Yeah.
less than 1% chance he could
Well,
actually be.
I don't know, because I'm pretty sure it was Jeremy Mutz, or there was some other criminal defense attorney, maybe on Surviving the Survivor, who said, I mean, I was kind of surprised because this other lawyer, and I'm not 100% sure who it was, but I think it might have been that former prosecutor who said it was more like a 60% chance of Charlie being found guilty, like a 60% chance and 40% not guilty. I was like, really? Really? No way.
Oh, man.
Because here we are, I think most of us who are here and addicted to the case and have been reading everything and watching, all the YouTubers and stuff that have really been paying attention to the case, like we feel pretty confident. Like I feel like, well, I mean, I feel like he is guilty for sure, but in terms of will a Florida jury convict him, I would say maybe like a 80 to 90% chance. I wouldn't say 100%, obviously. I mean, everyone points at Casey Anthony too. There are those cases. Oh, and that woman more recently, Danielle Reddick or something, the one who stabbed her husband and then didn't do anything all night and he died.
Okay, right.
Yeah, so she was found not guilty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I mean, I thought for sure she was going to be found guilty, but, I mean, I guess the jury felt sorry for her and thought, well, she was a victim of domestic violence and maybe he did attack her first. And, well, we don't know. But, it's just bizarre. So, oh, yeah. So Tony is saying Redlick. Yeah, exactly. Florida jurors. Okay, that's what she says. Florida juries are crazy. LOL. Yeah. So, I don't know. I would like to think that there's like a 90-something% chance that Charlie will be found guilty, but I don't know. And I haven't practiced criminal law in Florida, but we have that other attorney who was saying it was more, in his opinion, he thought it was more like a 60% chance of him being found guilty. So, yeah. So that's why I don't think he is going to make any sort of plea deal.
Right.
I doubt it. Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess we better get going because it's over an hour now. So thank you so much for your time and everything. And we'll definitely be in touch.
Awesome. Have a good one, everyone. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, everybody out there. Thanks for joining in. Have a good weekend.
Bye-bye.